Okay, hi Dee, lovely to see you
Hi.
today. For those of you watching, it's a hot day in London, and that's where I'm actually holding this meeting from. Dee, where are you today?
I'm in Ramsgate in Kent, so I'm on the seafront, which has a bit more of a breeze, but also very hot today.
Okay, so we're both coming to you today from the UK. And the reason for today is I asked Dee if she would join me to allow me to interview her because Dee has been one of our graduates of our coach training leadership development program, which she did online. And I just wanted to ask Dee some questions about that, about her journey in her coaching and how she's getting on and how she's developing as well since. So first of all, Dee, something we didn't discuss beforehand, but we need to introduce you. So could you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dee, and I work with the deaf community. So I do sign language, and I'm really keen to take my coaching to the deaf community as well, to be able to use my coaching skills to coach deaf people in their own language. I'm currently working on setting up my own business. So I'm
Coaching
hoping to be
business,
able
yeah.
to draw all of my different hats and my different roles, including coaching, under one umbrella, under one business. And I'm aiming to launch it in January. So I'm doing a lot of the background work towards that at the moment.
So let's hear your story then, because I remember meeting you and you were considering doing the coach training with us. What drew you to learn coaching, and what drew you to us as well?
Hmm. So I think I naturally possess a lot of qualities that a good coach has. So things like I have a really inquisitive mind. I'm always asking questions. I'm very curious about things. I'm a very good listener as well, and I also just love helping people find breakthrough. So those are all really key qualities that I naturally possess, and I didn't know that like a job role existed where I could use all of those skills. And so when I found out about coaching, I got really excited because I thought, wow, like this is, I can actually get paid to ask people questions. That's really exciting. And really, I'm just passionate about helping people to build the life that they want to live in. And so coaching overall is a very good fit for me. So when I found out about coaching, about Destiny coaching, that was at a Christian event called David's Tent, and I was walking through the marketplace with lots of stalls advertising lots of different Christian services. And when I saw Destiny Coaching, it was as though I was like being magnetically pulled towards it. That's the best way I can think to describe it. Just everything about Destiny Coaching just resonated in me, and just finding out more about it, I realized, wow, like this is actually something I can do that uses all my innate skills and gifts that I described before. So I just knew straight away that this was for me.
Sounds really good. Excellent. So I know you signed up, and we do both a residential and an online, but for lots of different reasons, you chose to do the online. So how did you find the learning process of the course?
I really loved it, and I think that's mainly because you are a really like natural and gifted teacher. So I just really love like the way that you teach. It really works for me. And I think you're very good at like teaching for all the different learning styles. So someone that learns by reading, they can read through the manual. Somebody that learns by listening, they can listen to the videos. Somebody that learns by like practical kinesthetic learning style, they can learn by actually doing the demos for themselves. And so you're very good at like varying your teaching styles so that there's something that will work for everybody. And I think that's a really like valuable skill to have, that not everybody can teach in that way. And also you're very good at like breaking down each skill and each tool into like bite-sized chunks, and so that we can really fully understand what that skill is for that tool. And then you're good at like scaffolding it and like building it up and building one thing on top of the next. And so I feel like it's not been like too much to take in at once. It's been very this bite-sized chunk approach, and really consolidating each skill before we move on. That's been really helpful for me to be able to learn in that way. And I just love your interactive approach in the way that you teach. So often in the online class, you would ask us questions, or if we asked a question, you'd put it back to us and say, well, what do you think first? And you would also get us to go away and research something and then come back and present it to the class. And I wasn't just sitting back and being told everything by the expert, but I felt like, wow, like there's already so much I already do know, and now I'm able to build on top of that from what you were teaching me. And it also kept me really engaged as a learner, because I wasn't just sitting back being talked at and switching off. So I think, yeah, the way that I would encourage people that the way that you teach will work for anybody, because you're so good at varying your teaching style.
Yeah. That's really good to hear. So for those listening, my name's Tina Southgate. I'm actually the founder of Destiny Coaching. I'm interviewing Dee today, one of our coach training graduates. And the reason why she's saying you is because I run a lot of the online training of our particular Destiny Coaching framework, which I authored and I wrote. So and Dee is very much describing the style of the way we teach online. And in every way, really, wherever we teach, it's always interactive. It's always the way that she's saying. So that just gives you all a context. So Dee, let's ask you a little bit more about your coaching journey. What were your highlights of the actual training that you graduated in with us?
So I particularly loved the coaching exercises that we did for homework. I think that's probably one of my biggest highlights, because you would kind of demonstrate an exercise in class and then send us away to meet up with another coachee to practice the same exercise together. And that, for me, really demonstrated the power of coaching, because I saw for myself how much breakthrough can happen in just a 20 or 30-minute coaching session. That was really incredible. And also I experienced the breakthrough for myself from being coached by the other person. And so particularly when we did the Dream Awakening module, that was a really profound experience for me. And a lot of the dreams that were being awakened were things like setting up my own business and being able to offer the services that I do under my own company and my own ethos and my own values. And that was a really big dream that I probably never would have had the courage to pursue if it wasn't for being coached. And so I think that's really profoundly changed my life and has been a very big highlight for me.
Wow, that's so good to hear, because that's why we have a really long name for this program. We don't just call it coach training, but we call it leadership development as well. And it's so good to hear, you know, that yourself sort of coming to us, training as a coach, you've been profoundly affected yourself personally as well. And so for those listening that might be thinking about becoming a coach, how long was it from starting to learn the coaching with us to when you're actually coaching people?
So I coach people through the course in terms of my fellow trainees on the cohort. So every week for homework, we would coach each other.
From lesson one, basically.
That really helped me getting that practical experience outside of the coaching course, and it helped me consolidate the skills we were learning. And then following summer, I joined your team at David's Tent to actually coach people as a volunteer. And for me, that was an incredible experience, like seeing this huge long queue of people that were queuing up to have these taster Destiny Coach sessions. I was like, wow, like this is something that's really needed and really people are really hungry for. So that really gave me the impetus to go for it as a coach, because I realized that there really is the need and the hunger out there for the skills that I've been trained in.
So from when you started to when you got that first paying client, what were you looking at? Was it about 6 months or?
About that, I think. Yes, I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. It's a good testimony right there for people. So really interested in what you're doing, because I know you've coached a lot of people since then. How are you using the toolkit with people?
So I would say really the coaching toolkit has just revolutionized my life. That's the best way I can think to describe it, because especially the principles you teach at the beginning, so things like I'm the facilitator, not the fixer. Wow, that was a big insight for me. Parking my judgments and letting that person be themselves and creating a safe space and holding people in unconditional positive regard. So those are three of the key things you teach us at the beginning. And I think those are things that I've now been able to take and just carry through to my everyday life. I'm constantly reminding myself of that. And I've seen incredible breakthrough just from treating people with those principles. And I really do use the tools every day outside of coaching, just in terms of being able to ask people powerful questions, help them find their own solutions, to self-manage myself and not just jump in and try and fix all their problems for them. And so I would really recommend to anyone who's considering leadership, really not even just in leadership, but just in everyday life, like this is a really powerful tool set to have. Even if you don't want to go on to work as a professional coach, these tools really do help. And in terms of inside of coaching, I've really seen breakthrough with using the tools as well. So the lady that I coached, who became my first paying client, when she came to me, her life was very chaotic and scattered and lots of disconnected elements that she couldn't see how they fit together. And she was just very unhappy with her life. But through the series of coaching, I've really helped her to find clarity, find purpose, and to just synthesize all these different jigsaw pieces into a cohesive picture. And she could see how everything was interconnected, and it just really gave her so much hope and clarity for how to move forward. And as a result of that, she's been able to make some very painful and difficult, but also very significant steps out of the situation she was stuck in into a much more happy future. So that's been really rewarding for me to see that and to be able to journey that with her and to be able to keep reminding her each session, you know, okay, it seems hopeless, but remember what God showed you last time, and you know, all of that. And just to see her leaving each session with so much renewed hope has been really encouraging. So like I said before, it's very helpful for anyone in leadership to be able to use in their everyday life, to know how to ask people empowering questions and find their own solutions, and be the facilitator, not the fixer. All those kind of things are really useful for anyone in everyday life. So I highly recommend Destiny Coaching. I've had a really good experience training there. And I think that's because Jared and Tina just have such a high standard of excellence in everything that they do, and that really speaks to me because I have a real value for excellence as well, so I recognize it when I see it. And so I really do think that the way you just do everything with so much excellence just really speaks to me about the kingdom of God and what that looks like.